Hello guys, class 7. This is Rashid Khan from Lakshmi Prasad Memorial Public School, Gola Bazar, Gorakhpur. Class, we will discuss over here the chapter number 16, that is water. And in the water we will have to discuss about a topic called as sources of water. Why? Because we have already discussed in the previous video about that the water, form of a water, and the water cycle. So here we have to discuss about the number of form of a water, availability of a water, whatever it is actually present. So first of all we will tell you about the forms of water. What is the forms of water? Water can exist in three forms, as you know that water can exist in solid, liquid and gases as well. How we can say that they can be used or they can be termed as solid, liquid and gases? You know very well there is a three forms of water available in our surrounding. How it is the water present in the form of snow or ice, that is solid. That water also present in the form of water in the form of a liquid, that is we have taken in such form. And water can also be evaporates while it receives some of the temperatures. So what are the processes by which these processes can be carried on? How these forms can be changes from one to another? So we will tell you about. First of all, here we have to know the water can exist in three forms. What are these? Solid, liquid and gas, that is in the form of vapor. So how we can say that they can be converted, they can be changed? They can be changed by means of what? By means of the process. When there is a solid melted, when the solid melted, then it can be formed by melting the solid, that is if it is melted ice form and it is water and this one is vapors. So when if it is melted, then it can changes into the liquid. But when the liquid can got temperature, that means if it is boiling, if there is a boiling takes place, so what will happen? These liquid or water get changes into the water vapor. But this is not so. There and other changes might be occur. What are these? These can also change into the liquid as well. The gases or vapor can also change into the liquid. How they can be changes? They can be changes by means of what? That is called as the condensation. Suppose the water molecules or vapors, they condensed by the means of condensation. By the means of condensation, these gas or water vapors converted into the liquid, and these liquid can also be turned into the solid by means of freezing, or we can say this is solidification. How it can be changed? By means of solidification. So here is the two way by which one form of a water get converted into another, one form to another, from another to another, that can be held by these means. So we can say By this process, the water get converted into the one form to another form, from another to another and one. So this is how the water can be exist on nature in the form of a solid, liquid and gases. This is the three means of the availability of water, that state of water that can be available in the form of ice or snow, liquid in form of water, as well what we have drinking, the gases in the form of water vapors. So these three states of a water can exist in our nature. So we can say there is a water can be exist in our earth on three state. Here the water consumable, or the water it is used for fit for the consumption, that is what actually, that is the availability of water. So we will talk about that, the availability of the water on the earth as well. Here we know that the percentage of water these water these water may be present over there in that form. It is about 97% of total water acquired by ocean, that is a salty water. 3% of water may be present over there. These 3% of water can be found in which there are these are the water which can be this may be present, and the form of 52% about that the lake, 38% is about to the underground water, remaining percent of the water which is 1% accessible water. These water may be consumed. Rest of the other water present in the form of ice or snow. So we can say these are the percentage of water present in our earth for the drinking or any other purposes. Here we have to see what are the different sources of water. So we will discuss on the topic sources of water. What are the different sources of water? So the water can be present in our earth in the different forms. What are these? There are the availability of water or sources of water. might be present in the different forms. You know very well there are the number of sources of there are the number, or you can say there is a various form in which the water can exist. Water can exist on the earth in the form of a rainwater, in the form of a surface water. These surface water might be divided into further as in the form of seas and ocean, lakes, the ponds, the ditches, or might be the springs, and as the rivers, lakes and ponds, etc. So these forms may be present on the earth. So we will discuss on the first of all about that the what are these sources. First of all, rainwater. Second one is the surface water. These surface water may present in different forms. What are these different forms? It is ocean and sea. Next one is river. Next one is spring. And the next one is what actually? Lakes and ponds. This is all about the forms in which the water available. So first of all we will discuss about the rainwater. As we know that the most of the water present on the earth that can be fulfilled by the rain. You have seen many times or in many areas where there is a scarcity of rain happens. So there will be not fulfilling of the rivers, ponds, lakes, etc. could not be fulfilled. Why? Because this is the most important source, the most huge, you can say the huge or the large amount of water may be scattered or that's just recharges by the rainwater. So rainwater is the most important sources of water present on the earth, which may be present in the form of a groundwater, in the form of a surface water, and as well as this can be present in other sources. So this rainwater, when there is a rains happen, you can see in case of ditches, ponds, lakes, or whatever the storing capacities can be held, so that can be completed by the rainwater. Here we know that these rainwater in metropolitan cities can be acquired or might be they can be stored. By storing this water supply can be sent or transport or maybe supply to the whole cities. If there is no rain happens, what will be the resultant? If there is no rain happens, so there will be the what can causes the supply of water could not be takes place. Why? Because there is no such type of pumping machines or any machines that can pull these larger or a huge amount of water. So what happened to this? If there is a lack or scarcity of water happens, so that can only be fulfilled by the rainwater. Why? Because rainwaters happen in a larger extent and that could be stored or placed into the different forms. They can be stored in the dams, the large reservoirs on which it can be stored. So the most important factor on which these rainwater fulfill the very large or the most extent amount of the water present on the earth are that is demanding of water that can be fulfilled by the rainwater. Next on which we have to discuss, that is surface water. What are these surface water called as? Whenever you have seen there is a rain happens, so the rains has to be run or swamps to the land as well. That can be seeps up to the land. So the land is not only the part of the earth that can be recharged. The other form of the water resources or other form of the water reservoirs that can also be recharged. What are these actually? These are the ocean and the seas, river, spring, lakes and ponds as well. So firstly we will discuss about that the ocean and seas. Ocean and seas, as you have already discussed about, you know about the 97% of water must be contained or must be stored in the form of a ocean and seas. So whatever the amount of water present on the earth, it has to be flow through the river, and from the river these water has to be moved towards the seas and ocean as well. Why? Because you know very well, whenever there is a rain happens, so what will happen? The water which get collected to the ditches or somewhere else at the high level, it has to be flow or run off towards the low level or lower region of the earth. For low lying land or lower earth, or you can say the lower part of the earth where there is a water goes or moves towards or that has to be run off, what will happen? This has to be supplied to the ponds and a lake, and again from the ponds and lake it has to be moved towards the river, and from the river as well it has to be moved to the seas and ocean as well. So the ocean and the seas that can completed their water bodies or water surfaces by the consumption, by the means of what? By the means of rains as well, and that can be completed by the rain, with the help of a river and spring and ponds and the lake as well. Here we have to move on to the next one, that is called as river. So river is the most important other resources through which the water present on the plane surfaces onto the earth or into the ponds and lakes or towards the smaller region, so lowland areas. So the water has to be runs off or move towards the place where there is a river or might be the ocean and seas happens. So these rivers has to be fulfilled by means of what? By means of the water that is present towards the hilly region or towards the high region or towards the higher region of the earth. Spring is another form that can be runs off from the very high towards the lower end, and this has to be moved to the river as well, by which it can be completed or fulfilled. The spring also fulfilled by the means of a water that is form of a rain, that is a rainwater. Lake and ponds also is another form in which the water get fulfilled. This fulfillment can be also done by the means of what? This can be done by the means of the rainwater as well. So this is all about the topic. We will discuss to the next topic, to the next